Alrighty, folks, good evening. Meteorologist Michael Wilhite here with Southern Indiana Weather. I want to bring you a quick forecast update as promised here on my page tonight. We do have the potential for some severe weather tomorrow, and I want to briefly just kind of discuss that with you. Here's the setup of what we got right now. It's about 10:30 p.m. here Eastern Time on Tuesday evening. What you've got is a pretty decent little low pressure system out here to our west, and essentially what's going to happen is this low pressure is going to deepen. So let me just kind of give you an idea of what's going on. You've got a pretty tight low pressure here. It's going to deepen even further as it starts to eject, sort of like this. That's going to drag that cold front that's down here with it into the area. You also kind of have a warm front that's extending like this. Well, it's actually sort of stalled out more like here right now. That's going to lift north overnight, and that's actually going to increase our temperatures. In fact, by the time tomorrow rolls around, we're going to be looking at temperatures flirting possibly with record high temperatures around the area. We're going to be at least into the low 60s, and I think upper 60s are very obtainable around the area, even with the cloud cover. So that's going to cause some storms to fire off, and for that reason, the unseasonably warm air mass and all that goes with it, the Storm Prediction Center has placed us under a slight risk of severe weather tomorrow. Notice that since the video this morning, that enhanced risk has moved further north, and I wouldn't be surprised if that enhanced risk doesn't sneak a little bit further to the north as well on their next NEP date overnight. Now here's the way it looks right here. You can see again the stronger risks are down just to our immediate south. That's where they've got the hatched area too, which indicates a stronger risk for some significant severe weather there. But again, I wouldn't be surprised if that doesn't move over us just a little bit. Let me show you why. This is not going to be one of those organized squall line kind of events, but let me show you here. Here's what we go through during the overnight hours tonight. So we've got a few storms that may fire as that front starts to lift north. That'll be in response to that deepening low starting to push. That'll drag that front north, and of course that's going to pump the warm air in, moist air in with it. We may get some showers and thunderstorms overnight, but I don't look for anything really severe there. By the time tomorrow goes on, though, we'll have some pretty good rain going on to our west. In fact, by tomorrow around noon, we've got some potential of some storms moving in. Looks like these could be some prolific lightning producers. We may see some good thunder here tomorrow. Maybe able to hear that good thunder. That's a real possibility. We'll just have to kind of wait and see how that goes, as whether this is too far fast or not. But you notice you have kind of a broken line. It's not really an organized solid squall line going down, but rather it's a cluster of cells. We don't like to see that. Those individual cells could be pretty bad, and so that's what we don't want to see. That round moves through, and then of course we have what could be another round, which may congeal a little bit more into at least a partial line as it drags through here during the late afternoon to the early evening hours. We'll see whether that's really right. This may be a little bit too fast, but again, tomorrow afternoon and evening looks like the main threat. Now let's just talk about that. Now tomorrow looks like it's going to be a pretty cloudy day overall. Here's tomorrow afternoon, and you say, well, that's a good thing. And it is. Usually that limits our instability, but here's the problem. If you look at temperatures around the area, again, temperatures at least into the mid 60s to upper 60s around the area tomorrow. And this is maybe not even our high temperatures. This is just a snapshot in time of the early afternoon. So if we can get to about 65 to 68 degrees across the area tomorrow, of course that's pumping in a lot of moisture with it, and the reality is that extremely warm air mass and moist air mass moving in is going to bring some instability with it, whether the sun shines out or not. Now, sunshine is going to make it worse, obviously, but it's going to have some degree of instability there. Now, the high resolution NAM here, backing off of surface-based instability, it shows just some small little bits moving into the area. But if we actually look at the sounding, and I know this is kind of confusing for you, but let me just kind of break down the numbers. If we look at the sounding down here, let's take a look at these numbers right here. This is CAPE, convective available potential energy. Again, at the surface, only 19 units. That's insignificant. By the time you go up into the other layers of the atmosphere, the most unstable CAPE approaching 500 units. So that's certainly enough that, I mean, it's not Scott outlandish, but this is December. You don't need a whole lot in December, and you combine that amount of CAPE with these kind of winds, and here's what we're looking at. These kind of winds right here, you're talking about 70 to 80, 85 knots worth of bulk shear. Bulk shear is change in wind speed as you go up. You combine even that low amount of CAPE with that bulk shear, and folks, you can get some stronger storms to develop off of this. So anything that does fire certainly has an atmosphere tomorrow afternoon that would be ripe for it to go severe. Now, the other thing that we're going to have to worry about too here is we do have some spin in the atmosphere tomorrow. Here's the storm relative helicity, the SRH, and you can see a bullseye. This is a measure of spin in the atmosphere. bullseye right over the Ohio Valley here for us. Now, another one we could look at is the Supercell Composite Index. Better parameters widespread to our south, but there are a few indications here that we're not totally out of the woods yet. So again, that's something we're going to look at tomorrow. Doesn't necessarily mean we're going to see supercells or tornadoes out of that, but certainly it is an option. The good news is if we look at our significant tornado parameter, where the strongest tornadoes are likely to occur, you can see it's far down to our south and not so much up to us. Same way with the EHI, the Energy Helicity Index, another measure we will look at for that. You can see those are centered down to the south as well. So it doesn't look like a strong tornado threat for us. Can't rule a very quick spin up on these lines out, but it looks like to me more of a damaging straight line wind kind of a situation with maybe a marginal tornado threat. So bottom line, here's what I expect to happen tomorrow. Once these storms roll through, I would not be surprised at all to see a few warnings get issued. Most likely going to be some severe thunderstorm warnings out of this. Damaging winds up to 70 miles an hour could be possible out of this. So it's one of those days tomorrow, folks, you just want to be weather aware. All right. This is the bottom line is all I can tell you. Just keep it tuned to the forecast. We aren't going to know if this is something that's really going to fire or not. We don't want to make this out to be a major outbreak as if it's the end of the world. We've certainly seen far worse outbreaks, but we haven't seen any severe weather in a while either, and so this is certainly one of those type of events where we could see some things. Now tomorrow morning I'll have another one of these quick videos updates out for you to let you know sort of what we're expecting throughout the day. So just keep it tuned right here to Southern Indiana Weather. We'll get through this together, folks. It's not going to be a major outbreak, but just reiterate, a few warnings will be possible tomorrow. Certainly the strongest severe threat that we have seen in a long time around here. So just be weather aware tomorrow. Keep it tuned here to Southern Indiana Weather, to your TV stations, and to other weather sources, accurate weather sources, folks, and we'll get you through this as best we can. Keep an eye to the sky tomorrow. All right, that's it for this video update, folks. Have another one in the morning. Take care.